On our previous video, I did a Procreate little exercise where I bring a tractor into a Vermont scene. I really thought it was a great idea, and I thought, you know what, if you don't follow through, we don't progress. So let's see how I go with this one. I have to say, I really do love a complex scene. Even though this one was made more complex, but the tractor, the element of the tractor, the idea of it really does just increase the visual delight that's possible. An open field is sometimes actually 10 times harder to paint and make it interesting. So even though this has forced me to really sort of work a lot harder, really sort of struggle, stress, strain, but normally in the long run, it's just an absolute bonus. So you can see that tractor starting to come into realisation now. And I've actually never painted one with the ploughing system on the back, so this was an interesting little concept to make it look believable and read well also. So it's got a couple of little wheels there. So notice I'm using that stiff synthetic brush. It's a marvellous little brush for just getting those edges in, and I can normally draw some nice clean shapes when I need them, especially on a shape like the tractor. But now it's time to start to blast in these big shapes. There's plenty of ultramarine, French ultramarine blue, tiny little bit of alizarin and a little bit of yellow ochre into this passage. So it's almost a classic 3-card trick, or the 3-step trick: foreground, mid-distance and distance. But the most important part is, I find, is unity. See how I've tied that mid-distance together and the background sort of little hillside. This is in or just near Langrove in Vermont. Just a marvellous place that I do love to visit and to go to. I do have the wonderful luxury of seeing some amazing places now. I think I've been to about 17 different countries, 24 different states in the US, and painted probably, I think, in about 12 of the countries. So I think it's time to start to sharpen up some of these edges. I normally have a couple of different ways of painting. Sometimes it'll be very little information on my primary focal area or focal sort of object, which is the tractor, and then I'll come and finish with it. Or other times I like to sort of push it along a little bit, and I think this one is one where I've just put a few little lighter values, sharper edges, just to give me an idea of, is it going to work? Is it going to read well? Because that's probably one of the big things that are really hard to truly to fathom. Is it going to work? Is it going to be a paintable subject? Is it going to read well to the audience? Because ultimately a painting is a visual storytelling, and especially on the tractor, if I put too much detail, I can just so easily overdo it. That's why the classic overworking. And I think the one secret in the way, I think, to stop overworking, one is to have a good plan in mind, definitely, but also don't have too many small brushes in your hand for too long, unless it's at that point where it's truly necessary. So, and I think that's why I do love the big brushes. It creates such lovely unity as well. You can see how I'm just unifying this sky area, just cutting back down into the tree line there. So it's mostly sort of an ultramarine blue, and there's a little bit of cloud there as well. Always careful that I don't actually put my paintings up too high on the easel as well, even though I haven't moved the painting at all, but I normally like the centre of the painting around about level with my chin. So if it's a big painting, definitely I'll be moving it up, down, all around, everything, anything and everything goes. But this is just about a 10 inch by 12 inch. But these are my sort of study sizes. And this one, I think with the information in the foreground, would translate beautifully into a bigger painting. And I may sort of look at doing that at some stage. A lot of times I'll feel as though, okay, I've done the painting. You know what, I'm not that excited about ever revisiting it. And sometimes just that one-off once is enough. So now I'm just bringing in that little number 3, the Master's Choice brush. And I can start to just refine these areas. And this really is the area that's difficult and really sort of challenging because we're needing to not overdo him. And if you look at there's sort of stops and starts shapes, they're not sort of unified like the main, the top part of it, and the sort of the cabin, not the cabin area, but that metal area at the top in blue. That's one nice big shape, but now we get into those small shapes. And for me, I think that's the scariest part of these sort of painting a tractor, is making that sort of coalesce nicely and read well, because we want it to be energized, but they're not overdone. So we're getting close to the air time where I'll be stepping back, having that global look. Even though we're painting locally, I almost probably wear a little track out in the carpet in my studio where I'm walking backward and forward, but it really does reset my eye. I can check how I'm going, and normally if I'm a little stuck, stepping back is the best way to really sort of work out how I've gone. And I think this one's gone beautifully, so it's really fun. I really love the scene. I love painting tractors. I love that engineering side of things and trying to capture it without actually overdoing it. And I think one of the secrets is making sure we isolate a certain area where we want the eye to settle. That's where focal points really do come to the fore. It was a huge struggle, I have to admit. I got to about 2 hours and thought, man, I still have a lot of work to do. This is really kicking my butt. But I find that's when you really need to step up. That's when the conditioning, the practice and all the work really does come in. So thanks for watching. All the best. Bye for now.